Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as Non-Classic. This is episode number 1271 and Doubleshot number 1165. I have two Marvel trades. This first one is not an X-Men trade because lately I've read a lot of X-Men trades. This one is Star Wars Bounty Hunters. This collects the first 5 issues of this ongoing series, which is still publishing, by the way, unlike some other series that Marvel have been publishing lately. Written by Ethan Stacks, not the first series I reviewed by him. Last one I did was Old Man Hawkeye, an excellent series. And I guess Marvel figured out after doing that, Old Man Peter Quill, like, okay, give him a Star Wars book. He's doing cosmic stuff, so why not? Now, this book basically... Now, there's a few reasons why this book exists. First reason... takes place after Empire Strikes Back, and Bounty Hunters became popular in the Star Wars mythos thanks to Empire Strikes Back. By the way, the guy who's in the cover, his name is Valance. Yes, we have Boss here in the corner. Anybody can tell that's Boba Fett right there. And yeah, basically these are the stars of the series. Another reason why this series exists because of popularity of The Mandalorian. Yeah, The Mandalorian basically made it so popular again in recent memory. Now, Bounty has been popular in Star Wars for years, but I think the reason why Marvel decided to give an ongoing series for the Bounty Hunters is because of the surge popularity that they got recently in the last couple years, thanks to Mandalorian. That's another reason why I think that they did that. And plus, also, this is also to be one of 4 ongoing series, which I'm thinking, wait, why 4? That's a lot, because you have the main Star Wars book, you have Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra, yes, I still have this book been published, and this book. This is by far the first original Star Wars title to come out since Dr. Aphra started back in, let's see, how long ago that started? That started back in, I think it was like 2016 that started. This book just started, I think was just this year. Yeah, I believe it was just this year this started. Yeah, I believe it was like the start of this year. Yep, yeah, just this year. So this was the first original Star Wars ongoing series published in 4 years. Because the only ones we had publishing, like, here's the thing. During the first couple years of the Star Wars comic book publication period, we just had Star Wars, Darth Vader, we had the Keenan comic, which ended 12 issues, and we have Poe Dameron. 4 really good titles, though the 4 of them, Darth Vader was later replaced with Dr. Aphra, which actually stayed and still being published right now. And speaking of Dr. Aphra, she's actually in this book, and they reference actually some of the events that happened in her ongoing series, despite the fact Ethan Stacks didn't write the series or create the character herself. Yeah, mostly put in the case of Boba Fett. Yeah, in case you're curious though, like, does the ship Slave 1 ever show up in these 5 issues? The answer is no. It doesn't. Nope, it does not. Unknown why it doesn't. I don't know what the explanation is. Basically why we have Boba Fett here, but not his famous starship Slave 1. A ship he's had since, well, the prequel trilogy. Though in actuality he's had it since the original trilogy. Yeah, it was a gift to him by his late father, Jango Fett. Yeah, Bosk himself basically is a character. Now, the thing with Valance is he was not a character who made his debut in the movies, unlike Boba Fett and Bosk did. Valance made his debut in the original ongoing series from Marvel from the 70s. And this is sort of a slight redesign of the character. Now, I have not read any of your previous Bounty Hunter books. Now, have I read the Boba Fett book that Dark Horse published? The answer for that is no, I haven't. I've read books featuring Boba Fett. Yes. I have basically read comic books featuring him. Well, mostly for Marvel. But not for Dark Horse. Well, I have read him as a guest star character in the Age of the Empire series by John Ostrander. Now, the thing about Bosk is I have read him before prior to this. In the Star Wars comic book that was set after New Hope, it was the comic Brian Wood published just prior to Dark Horse losing a license. I have read that, and Bosk was featured in that book. And featuring of Bosk, a Wookiee shows up in the series. Black Kashyyyk. Yeah, he's in this series. He's in these issues too, as a guest star. Because why not? Also, he's now, even though that Dr. Aphra, as far as I can tell, has paid off her debt to him, he's still hanging out with her. I don't know why. Probably because it's basically part of the character. Now, fun fact about Bosk, and not many people know this about his suit. Yes, originally the suit made his debut on an episode of Doctor Who. And I guess that apparently somebody at Lucasfilm must have found this lying around some British TV studio, probably found a storage, and just put it on Bosk. Yeah, it was actually made his debut in the episode, I think it was Wheel in Space. It was a Cyberman episode. That's where the suit first showed up, and it's unknown if the suit that he's wearing now. The pictures I've seen, basically, the suit on this episode, mostly just Jamie and Vicky wearing the suit. Yeah, there's a character named Vicky on the show. This is during the second Doctor's time. And my guess is that even though this suit had probably not been seen in anything in over a decade, by the time this actually came out, well, the original film anyways, so they just put him in this suit. And Bosk himself only made an appearance in the movie for one scene, and he became super popular. Him and Boba Fett. Yep. Despite the fact there were other bounty hunters in that scene, along with a robot. Yes, a robot bounty hunter. Which, yes, there was a robot bounty hunter on the Mandalorian, but it's not the same one. Nope, it's a completely different character. Have I watched Mandalorian? No. How do I know this? I looked at my line. Though I kind of wish I could basically watch the show, but I don't have a subscription to Disney Plus. So go figure. Most of the proof of the series is that Boba Fett basically has got a contract to kill Valance and his client that he basically has in the series. Mostly, this is a series focused on Valance himself. Yeah, he's the main focus character. Boba Fett is here just as a supporting character, which... Wait, Boba Fett is super popular. Why can't they have him an ongoing series, much as a miniseries featuring him? I guess not. I mean, he was mentioned in the first ongoing arc for the current volume for Star Wars. Yeah, they even had Lando go to Jabba the Hutt. It's like, hey, have you seen Bubba lately? He's like, nope. Okay, bye. But he's actually here. Yep. But this is actually a really good start for the series. And I gotta show some artwork. The artwork is actually pretty good. I think it might have been the same artist who did the Dr. Aphra series. Here's Boba Fett! Yes, this artwork is amazing. Now, who is the artist of the series? Paolo Vanetti. Yep. The cover is done by Lee Bargemo, who actually is a really good artist. Yeah, those of you familiar with this artist, he did the We Are Robin series. He wrote and drew that series. He did the Joker one-shot. He did Batman Noel and Luthor Man of Steel. So, at least that, in the case of Ethan Stacks, he at least had a good cover artist for his books, because Lee Bargemo is a really good artist. This book is great. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Yes, it is that good of a series. I did not want to get a series bad rating, because it's actually pretty damn good. And plus also, who would give a bad rating to a book featuring Boba Fett, of all people, or much less freaking Bosk, an alien who hates Wookiees? And yeah, he's sitting next to Wookiee in this particular comic book. And he doesn't fight him. Well, kind of does, but not really. Moving on to a different book. This is an excellent book. This is XForce Volume 2 by Ben Percy. Collecting XForce Volume 6, issues 7 through 12. Mostly, this book is not focused on X-Force. It's mostly focused on Domino and Cable. Not Cable. Colossus. On their set missions. And we kind of basically explore... Now, mostly the first few issues take place prior to the events of the series. What kind of explores what the heck these two were up to prior to the start of this. Like, Peter was basically going to some other organization, also going back to his farm, with apparently his girlfriend. Also, apparently, Ben Percy remembers, oh yeah, Domino basically was in a relationship with Cable, with Colossus in the Cable and X-Force series. Though this is also featured in the main X books. Now, I don't really know why some writer put these two together, which really makes no sense at all. Especially since fans have really wanted to see him get married to Kitty Pryde. But they tried, but they got called it off. But here's the thing. Unlike Tom King, who got death threats over the aborted wedding in his book, Mark Guggenheim just got a lot of flack online, basically, about it. But yeah, he basically didn't receive any death threats, which that's surprising. I think people know because Mark Guggenheim is not basically, unlike in the case of the Batman Catwoman one, which that was actually a big bill going for some time. In the case of Kitty Pryde and Colossus, this was a wedding that had very little build, and I guess some people thought, yeah, Marvel's going to do this wedding, but yet they went through marrying Rogue and Gambit, which that was interesting, though they've since outed Kitty Pryde as bisexual. In the case of Domino, when it comes to people she's been involved with, yeah, she's been involved with Wolverine. As a matter of fact, she's had sex with him in the X-Force Sex and Violence miniseries. They had sex in issue 2. But mostly when it comes to Domino, who's usually her primary love interest in comics over the years? Cable! And she's not been involved with him in years for some reason. I have no idea why in the world Marvel writers thinks it's a good idea to keep these two apart, especially since these two have great chemistry. I think their romance is actually really good. I mean, yes, they're both characters created by Rob Liefeld, but at least it's something. But apparently, not even her recent ongoing series featured any appearances by freaking Cable. Like, did the writers forget the fact that these two were in fact a couple? Because apparently, yes. I think Marvel writers have completely forgot or just ignored the fact that these two were in fact a couple, so have her hook up with freaking Colossus for some reason. I have no idea why. And eventually, of course, the stuff basically they did prior to the series does get involved with the whole thing with Wolverine. And of course, they do a Jungle Adventure, which is quite nice. And Jean Grey has to demand basically about the trust the X-Force has, which I appreciate, though. It seems like, though, the one thing I can tell about this run for Ben Percy, it seems like he takes inspiration from, not from the original 90s version of X-Force, despite the fact this is based upon that version, take inspiration from the Christian Great Cow run. Ugh, yuck. Come here. Ugh. I have stuff in else, excuse me. I know this might take a minute. Hang on a second. My apologies about this. It's just basically I had to blow my nose because my nose was really bothering me. Okay, that's better. Yeah. Now back to this. Yeah, like I was saying, basically, that Ben Percy takes loose inspiration from the Chris Yost Craig Kyle series for this version of X-Force. Mostly due to the fact that, well, the thing is, when people think of X-Force, people think of Cable, Domino, sometimes Deadpool, but mostly these two characters associated with X-Force. That's what Marvel is basically associated with X-Force over the years. Not the case of Cable. Yeah, Cable's actually been absent for 2 of the volumes of the series. Well, mostly 3. He was absent for the Chris Yost Craig Kyle run, this run, and the previous volume, which featured the Kid Cable, which he's nowhere to be seen in the series. Which I would think X-Force is his group. He founded this group, and he's nowhere to be seen. So I think, wait, why can't he just move off X-Force? X-Force is part of his character. That's the thing with Cable, and yet Marvel writers forget that factoid when it comes to freaking Cable. Yes, like sometimes they've had brief revivals of X-Force, but it seems though they just don't freaking care. It's like, oh, because it's a Rob Liefeld craze, let's just basically just poo-poo on it and just basically have Cable nothing to do with this incarnation of any incarnation of X-Force aside from the original one. I mean, yeah, he did have a reunion of the original X-Force in the early 2000s, which Liefeld drew that book, and Fabian Aziza wrote it, which was good. But this book, it's still good. I appreciate, though, that unlike in the case of Excalibur, where it had a great opening set of issues, and the second half was okay at best, Marauders was great for all 12 issues. And I think X was actually pretty decent for what it was. This book actually is pretty good. It's fun. It's interesting. It's a good amount of character development. And plus, I love the fact that we actually have Wolverine and Domino interact with each other because I guess Ben Percy remembered, oh yeah, these two have slept together before. So, okay, at least remember that. Nothing really wrong with this. It's actually pretty good. It's fun. I love the jungle stuff in here, which is fantastic. Love seeing Domino. His look. It's just so fun. And Wolverine in the jungle is basically perfect for him. Now, the artwork in here for most of the issues, except for issues 9 and 10, are done by Juan Pazuza and Joshua Cazero at issues 9 and 10. The cover is done by Dustin and Edgar DeGale. Yep. This book I'm going to give roughly I'll give it basically a 9.5. It's a slight of a step down from the last volume of the series. Mainly because it involves stuff with Charles Xavier. This book doesn't really feature him that much at all. Nope. But I might guess he's featured in the early issues just to confirm the fact it's part of the initiative. And this is doing something on its own, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I would say out of all the spin-off X books, I would definitely rank Marauders as number 1 so far. Yes. Marauders is number 1. This book I would rate at the same level as Wolverine. Not just because they're basically with the same person, because they're both really good books. I would definitely say the weakest spin-off book is Fallen Angels. That's the weakest book of all the books. It's got good artwork with it. It's just that the story is very weak. And pretty disappointing. XForce is proving to be a really good series. And I do think that bringing Ben Percy, I mean, at this time anyways, yes, the book itself has had a few more issues published since then. But I do think it's been like a little over a year when it comes to the start of this run for X-Force. And I do think Marvel made a good decision by putting Ben Percy in the series because the guy is one damn good writer and he doesn't espionage stuff before thanks to doing James Bond. And the fact that he has experience writing characters like this. Though technically this is the first group book I can think of he's worked on. Because mostly he just worked on a lot of solo characters. I mean, he worked on Batman for the comics. Actually, technically, this is the second group he worked on. Because he did work on Teen Titans. That focused on a group of teenagers. This is basically mostly adult, like one teenager in a way, with Quentin Quintire. Yeah. Though in the case of basically one of the members, Black Tom Cassidy, he doesn't really play a big role in these issues. Nope, it's mostly Domino, Colossus, Wolverine, Jean Grey, and also apparently that Beast is lying to the team, but Jean Grey called him out on it. Yes. I do think those two make the least sense, basically, beyond X-Force. Purely because these two are big names, and I tend to think, why put him in this book for, even though Jean Grey is doing fine? I mean, why feature in this book? Why not feature in the main book? I don't know. It's particularly kind of weird. Especially since the main book is a heavy focus on Cyclops, and, well, that's what it was the first half of the run, first 6 issues, and now it's focused on Gabriel. Okay. At least Cyclops is still around, except the book is not really, despite being called X-Men, it just basically are somewhat of a rotating roster of whoever else is in the book. In the last few issues I read, it's mostly focused on the second X-Men team that Brubaker versus assembled in the Daily Genesis miniseries. But this book basically has still got the same lineup. Not really much changes. It's pretty big, but still fun. Yes, that's what the best way to describe it. Really fun. So in the case of the X books that came out before X Swords, there are technically about a couple more trades left to review. Like they just finished X-Force, so you're probably thinking, what's left? Well, Cable and Giants X-Men. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for everything reviewed-wise for the stuff for the current initiative stuff that's been released so far. Because I pretty much reviewed like almost everything. Yeah, pretty much everything except for Cable and Giants X-Men. Yeah. With the exception of those two, everything else is pretty much up to date, which is good. Now, I'm hoping to get soon the trade that collects the second half of the solo run for Matthew Rosenberg on Kenny X-Men. I'm hoping to get that soon. Also, Mandrix is in these issues. Yes, Jamie Mandrix. Yeah, Multiman back in his old costume with the part of the mask that covers part of his head. Yeah, he's back in this book, but the thing is, he's barely featured yet. I clearly tell it's Multiman, but yeah, he's not really for it. It's like he's there just quick cameos. He exists despite the fact that one of the versions of Multiman, the one that was in the Multimini series, done by Matthew Rosberg, yeah, that character's dead. Which I kind of figure, though, because all the characters are basically just be revived anyways, so why did they just revive him? I don't know. Which kind of makes the question, okay, why did they just revive? Oh, I don't know. How about the original Jamie Mandrix? Is he alive? Unknown. I haven't got a chance to take a look at that, but yeah, so that's it for Single View. I'm going to do 2 more videos, and then I'm going to do more videos after that, but next one's going to be Blue Exorcist. Yep, to the next video. Bye.